Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
What is skim milk? I don't know. Skim milk is something where you wouldn't know. It's like the cream. What you call the cream of the milk is taken. It's on the top and it is taken out. The skimming is probably, you can say, you are removing the most important part of the fat content. What you call it, that is being taken and it is preserved. The same thing happens with skimming in Pega also. You take the highest layer of the rules and then you move it on to the next highest version of it. For example, let me show this through an example. For example, I have a version called 0101. Initially, there are like 10,000 rules on this version. My initial version of the rule set, I have 10,000 rules. Go. Then in a Momo 2. I have managed or I have manipulated some rules from those 10,000. Along with that, I've added 500 more rules. This is the count currently. And then over, probably in the next versions or something like this. Along with this, I have manipulated or I have added in like 300. For each version, you are bringing up some new rules or you are manipulating the existing rules. Now, suddenly is a very huge change or very major requirement that you are going to update your application to something like this. Now, do you need to copy all of these rules? Suppose these in 1000 rules are there. This 1000 rules exist in O1, O1, and O1, O2 and in O1, O3. Assuming all 1000 are modified, every rule has a copy of it in all of these rules. Do you think you have to copy each of that into O2, O2, O1, O1? Is it required? What is the best probable solution here? I will pick each rule and I will see what is the highest version of it. What's the latest version of that rule available? And only that rule will be moved on to this version. That at the end of the day, I'll have only one copy of each rule, whatever version it might be. One might be from O1 itself. One could be from O459. One could be from O78. It doesn't matter. I will only consider what is the highest version of each rule. That instance alone will be moved on to this new version. That I will end up having only one instance of each rule in the new version. That is nothing but skimming. This is an example of skimming here. Initially in O1, 3 rules are there: A, B and C. Under first batch O1 on O2, rule B is updated. Now, once you skim it, what happens is the system starts checking rule A. What is the highest version of rule A in all the available rule sets? It is there only in O1. This instance is moved. Now for rule B, the system checks again. What is the highest version of available of rule B? It is there only in O2. That will be picked and moved. Then for rule C, what is the highest available version of it? O1. That is moved. Likewise, each and every rule instance is checked for its highest version and that is copied or that is moved into the major version that you are wanting or whatever the skimming one that we give. Only that is moved across. Not all the junk, but not all the unnecessary copies. Rule B is available in 58 different versions. Doesn't matter for me. I will only pick the highest version of that rule that is available and only that can be moved. Skimming always means you're leaving behind the impurities. You're only considering the top layer, leaving behind all the impurities or leaving behind all the unwanted versions. Let's see how this is going to work. Let us go to again, we're back onto this studio. Skimming again comes with a separate wizard. This time it is on the system refactor and rule sets. Configure system, refactor and rule sets. Once you have skimmed, it means you're leaving behind all the unwanted or irrelevant versions of your rules. Only the highest available version is carried forward. Here comes your scheme or rule set. What does it say? Copy the highest version of existing rules into a highest version. And this works for major as well as minor also. Let's see what happens. Probably, I think, before this, let me just make some changes into the rules that now we can. Now we can clearly see the difference at what is being moved, what is not moved. I think we have created a couple of sections and already or some when rules. I think we will see. Get personal information is there which is initially from rule 101. Skimming always brings down the count of your rules. Initially, you might have 10,000 rules, considering all the versions and all, but once you skim, you might just end up with 500 rules. Rest of the 500 would just be the different versions of the same rule. Now I have this section in HRSO 1 and obviously, yes, it is locked. Now, If I want to make some changes onto it, I have to save as it into the new rule set version, the current one that's available. But make sure this user has an access to this if he is able to. Just adding in some details onto it. Does this user even have access to this new version, which is Zaza 103? No, because when you look at his access group, he only has access to Zurhan 1 and 1. It says this user cannot have any new rule set versions available. Let us see if he is able to save it in a particular context. That's fine. Let us just go back. Let me just skim this first and see what happens. Which rule set you are going to skip? Yes, is it going to be a major one or a minor one? Generally, we would go for major version skimming only. Minor is again. If you do it for the minor again, you have to later do it for a major as well. End of the day. Let's go for major version. From Zo1, what is the new next major version that you're looking at? Obviously O2. All the versions included in between for this major version will be involved or will be part of your skimming process. Starting from Zo 1 and 2 Leo and 2D1, you can skip. And why is it only 2D1, not EO 3D1? Any guesses? Because the user don't have access to that. Exactly. The user does not have access to those rule sets. We see under tooling 1. But if I give an access to the new version, which is Zo 10U3T1, then definitely I can see that. Let's see what happens. I'm going to skim this. Skimming might take a moment because the system has to filter out all the rules. And it has to fetch the each highest version of each rule set. And then it slowly starts to filter out. You see, I have around 51 rows here in Nowruz and Navon. Obviously, all the 51 would be moved. But otherwise, if we could have just added a few on these, then those will be discarded. The unwanted copies will be discarded and you will be with each copy of a new or each copy of a single rule. Where is the? Yes, you see, total is 51 and the cards moved are also 21, but we just add one copy of each rule anyways. all of them have to be skimmed. This is more suitable when you have a lot of minor and patch versions in hand. That's when this process is more effective because you will be left out with a lot of terms behind. And then only the ones that are on the purest form will be moved further on to the next major version. Clear out the process. Now you can go back and you can check the application. I'm sorry, the rule set version. Yes, now I see that is 0, 21 and 1, which is part of my skimming process. That's why I see all the 51 are moved across in 0, 21 and 1. Otherwise, what could it have been? Suppose if there are 51 in Note 101, some 100 in Note 102. Likewise, a lot of rules are available, but the system picks the finest copy of each rule and it moves on to the 0,001. Clear with this skimming? Any questions? On the application also, we are able to see the changes. These are on. This one. No, on the application here, the application is not being impacted again. The changes are only until the rule set, but not on the application level. Again, this particular user has access only until 0.2 only. Beyond that, he cannot access. Again, this becomes specific to each individual operator. Correct. Now, suppose if I give this 0.1, 102, then he can access the rules across the new version that is available. Again, this becomes an individual update that we are individual privilege that we give to each of our operators. Yes, I will practice this today. For example, I would just like to conclude with this thing. Suppose now I changed it to 0, 2 and 2 and 1. Let me save it. Now, earlier, this get personal info was not. I'm not able to save it earlier because it says no versions available because I cannot access it. Now if I try to save it, now you see I have the version available this time because it is listed on my operator rule, set instance list. This thing that you see is not entirely relating to the application alone. It is also relating to your operator profile. Do you have enough access for it? Can you access all the major versions or are you specific until a particular version only will be decided on the application stack here? And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.